I remember walking along that narrow forest trail just as the sun dipped behind the trees. The fog had begun to curl around the trunks like pale fingers, muffling the soft crunch of leaves beneath my boots. Every so often, a flicker of movement would catch my eye, shadows stretching longer than they should, or branches trembling in a wind I couldn't hear. My breath hung in the cold air, visible and hesitant, as if even it feared the quiet. Somewhere deeper in the woods, a low, distant hum drifted through the mist, almost like a voice, almost like a warning. I thought I saw something crouched between the trees, its eyes glinting like molten gold, staring at me long before it disappeared. I told myself it was only my imagination, but then the leaves rustled again, closer this time and slower, deliberate. That's when I saw it. The trail begins empty. Fog curls low over the gnarled roots, soft and wet against my boots. Even the air feels heavy tonight, carrying the scent of moss and cold earth. Shapes flicker at the edge of my vision. I turn and there is nothing, only the trees, pale in the dimming light, stretching like fingers. A breath, shallow and slow, rises behind me. I stiffen, heart thumping against my ribs. When I look, the shadows shift, but no one stands there. Leaves brush together with a whisper, like fur sliding over bark. The sound is almost human. A pause, a staggered step. My skin prickles. I want to call out, but my voice feels swallowed by the mist. The forest hums. It's not wind. It's something else. Something patient. Every step I take presses damp soil into my shoes. The mist curls around my ankles, cold, hungry. I catch movement again, something darting between trunks, just a silhouette, and gone. I remember the sun, earlier, spilling orange light through the canopy. Now it is pale, fading, leaving shadows that twist where they shouldn't. A low rustle comes from the right, rhythmic, then silence. I breathe through my nose, smelling damp pine and something metallic, faint, almost burned. My fingers brush against bark. Rough, wet. The path is narrow. I am narrow in it. Something brushes past my shoulder. Cold, hairy, almost soft. I turn. Nothing. The fog thickens. I can barely see the trail ahead. Shapes linger in the periphery. Thin, tall, swaying with a life of their own. Every sense tightens, humming under my skin. The forest knows I am here. It watches. I pause. Silence, deep and waiting, drapes over the roots. The air smells sharper now. Iron, wet fur, soil turned over. A whisper, not words, just a sound of breath, behind the tree line. Behind me, somewhere close. I blink. It disappears. The path curves. The fog gathers like smoke curling into corners of my eyes. Branches scratch my cheeks softly as I pass. I think of light, pale, soft light, fading into the evening, and the forest seems to lean closer, listening. Every step makes the fog shift, like the trees are breathing around me. Something moves again. Quick, silent, too fast for the eyes, too deliberate to be wind. I hear it before I see it. A scraping, a padding, just beyond where the mist can reach. My pulse slows and jumps. I cannot tell if I am afraid or expected. There is a rhythm to the whispers, a pattern like steps counting me. I run my hand along a root, wet, moss-covered. The mist curls higher, wrapping my legs, my arms, my shoulders. I am alone, but not. A shadow flits across the trail ahead. Then gone. I hold my breath. The hum of the forest fills my ears. I hear it again. Fur brushing leaves. Something bending, watching. A pause like a thought, then a step back. The mist swallows it. I step carefully. The ground is soft but uneven. Roots snag my shoes. The fog presses against my face, tasting of wet earth and cold fear. The forest is alive, aware, waiting, and I feel it in my bones, whispering, patient. I stop. The trail opens into a hollow. Mist swirls, thick and pale. Everything is quiet, and I feel it, a presence at the edge of my vision, breathing, watching. I cannot see it, but I know it is there, and the fog curls around my ankles, holding me in place, soft, quiet, endless. Moonlight filters through skeletal branches. The air tastes cold, metallic, and damp. Each step presses soft soil underfoot. A quiet reminder that I am alone. Eyes glowing between the trunks. They vanish when I blink, leaving only pale light and shadows that twitch. I freeze. The hum follows me, low, steady like breath in the dark. It rises and falls, patient, almost knowing. Rustling punctuates silence. Leaves shiver against each other. Something brushes past. Too deliberate to be wind, too soft to see. I tilt my head. A figure steps forward, half seen, blurred by fog and moonlight, then retreats into darkness, leaving only the hum and my own pulse. The branches scratch my skin. Cold pricks at my ears, fingertips, neck. The forest exhales around me. Slow, deliberate. The eyes appear again. Pair after pair, floating in the mist, watching, unblinking. Some close, some disappear. I cannot tell if they are real or reflections of my own fear. The hum grows colder, sharper, vibrating through the bones of the forest. I feel it against my chest, my spine, a presence curling around me. Leaves brush my sleeves. A damp smell, earth and decay, rises with every step. Soft footsteps echo in the distance, but vanish before I can locate them. The figure returns. Closer now. I catch a flicker of movement, a silhouette behind a gnarled tree. It holds its shape for a heartbeat, then melts back into fog. I am still. The cold presses in. Moonlight glints off wet branches, casting strange, fractured shadows. Eyes, always the eyes, watching between branches. Some pale blue, some yellow, some impossibly dark. I can feel them tracing my movements, pausing when I pause. A branch snaps. My breath catches. Silence swells around me, thick and heavy. I step forward slowly. The soil presses cold through my shoes. The fog twists around my legs, damp and persistent. A hum rises again, soft, almost tender, then sharp, like it knows I am afraid. The figure, it steps closer again. I cannot see its face, only a shadow folding in on itself. My ears catch a rasping, a brushing, like claws over bark. Something shifts behind me, and I know it is watching. The fog trembles at my ankles, curling higher. I try to focus on the trail. It is narrow, pale in the moonlight. Branches scratch, leaves whisper. Everything alive, attentive, waiting. The figure lingers at the edge of vision. Eyes glint where none should be. The forest holds its breath with me. I reach a small clearing. The fog lifts slightly. The moon spills silver across wet grass. For a moment, nothing moves. Then the eyes disappear. The figure melts into the mist. The hum recedes. I am alone, but not. Cold settles deep in my chest. The night stretches on, patient. And somewhere between the branches, something watches, waiting. The fog thickens as I step forward. Each foot presses soft, wet earth. Cold seeps through my shoes, wrapping around my ankles. A howl breaks the quiet. Long, drawn out, rolling across the trees. It echoes endlessly, bouncing from trunk to trunk, lingering in the mist. Shadows twist unnaturally. They bend, stretch, full where light should be. Branches sway without wind, brushing my cheeks, tugging at hair. I feel eyes on me, from every angle. Behind, above, beneath. The forest hums with attention, patient, relentless. The ground smells of wet soil and decaying leaves. The fog presses damp against my face. I swallow hard, tasting iron. A heartbeat, not mine. Distant, steady, slow, measured, like someone pacing, just out of reach. My chest flutters. Panic rises, tight and cold. I cannot move. My legs feel rooted in the mud, held by the fog itself. The howl returns, quieter now, a thread stretching toward me. I close my eyes. Its echo twists through my skull. Shadows gather between the trees. They flicker or merge, then split again. Something lingers in periphery, tall, thin, swaying. The hum of the forest swells. Leaves scrape each other like fingernails. Every soft step is amplified, though I am the only one moving, Or so I hope. The fog swallows the trail ahead. Roots vanish beneath a white blur. Branches snag at my sleeves, cold and damp. I taste fear in the air, metallic, sharp, lingering on my tongue. A rustle, faint behind me. I don't turn. I can feel it watching. The distant heartbeat continues. Steady, slow. It pulses through the fog, through the earth, through me. The howl cracks again, nearer, closer. It seems to circle, surrounding, folding the shadows tighter. My pulse matches it, trembles with it, shallow and uneven. I sense movement at the edge of vision, a silhouette that shifts too smoothly, too quickly. Branches bend as if it passes through them. The cold deepens, settling in my chest and hands. My breath rises in misty clouds. The forest watches, listening to it. I take a careful step. The fog swirls, curling over my ankles, rising past my knees. I taste damp moss, feel it stick to my fingers. Another howl, fragmented, distant yet impossibly close. The heartbeat persists, a quiet drum in the mist. I can't tell where it lives, if it moves, if it knows I exist. Shadows bend toward me, leaning over roots, folding into each other. The fog presses against my face like soft fingers. Something brushes my sleeve. Quick, light, intentional. I stop. The world is still except for the hum, the heartbeat, the lingering howl. The fog moves, breathing with me, around me, through me. I dare step forward. Branches scrape my arms. The air tastes damp and cold, tinged with something earthy, old. Eyes flare briefly in the mist, glowing, pale, watching, then vanish. I breathe, shallow, tasting iron, listening to the echoes. The forest folds in around me, alone but not alone. The howl fades slowly. The heartbeat drifts, distant now, receding. Shadows relax. The fog curls at my ankles. I step cautiously, following the pale path that stretches ahead. Cold presses against me, lingering in my bones. And I know, whatever watches is patient. It waits. Still there, just beyond the reach of sight. I keep moving. Quiet, careful, measured. The forest hums around me. The night stretches on. The forest thins slightly. Fog clings low, curling around roots and fallen branches. Cold air drifts over my skin, damp and heavy. A pale light flickers ahead. A lantern swings slowly, though no path leads to it. Its glow stretches long, trembling shadows across the trees. I step forward. The earth presses soft beneath my shoes. Leaves brush my ankles, damp and sharp. With every step, the lantern seems to drift closer. Not with the wind, not by chance. It waits, patient, deliberate. I smell smoke, faint mixed with wet pine. The light reflects off moisture on leaves, making them glimmer like tiny eyes. Shadows bend and twist in ways they shouldn't. Beneath the lantern, I see a figure, hunched, still silent. Its head dips slightly, but never moves. I blink. It is gone. The pale glow sways alone, teasing the edges of vision. The fog presses against my face. I taste damp earth and cold metal in my mouth. The silence is thick, almost solid, pushing it around me. Soft steps echo through the clearing. Not mine, or maybe mine distorted. I cannot tell. The lantern swings again, slow, hypnotic. I feel drawn to it, though my instincts warn me to stay back. Each step I take seems to pull it nearer, closer, until I sense its heat brushing my skin. The figure appears again, under the glow. Hunched, silent, almost human. Then it folds into the shadows. The forest hums softly, a low vibration beneath my feet. Branches brush my arms. Leaves whisper secrets I cannot understand. I taste fog, cold and damp, lingering on my tongue. The light flickers, dances along the bark of trees. Shadows twist and reach toward me, long and unnatural. I stop. The lantern sways, still alone. The figure hides somewhere in the pale wash. I feel its gaze, patient and waiting. A faint hum rises in the distance. The fog curls around my legs. Holding me, the air tastes of damp pine and old decay. I take a cautious step. The light stretches, bends toward me, as if noticing my presence. Branches scratch lightly across my shoulders. I blink. The figure vanishes. The lantern floats, slow, untethered, swinging in place. The silence presses closer. Every sound is amplified. The rustle of leaves, the creak of branches, my own shallow breath. I move forward, slowly, carefully. The fog drifts, swirls around the pale light, but the figure does not return. The lantern's glow softens. Shadows fold back into themselves. The forest exhales, patient waiting. I leave the clearing, cold creeping into my chest. The light recedes into the mist. The silence stretches behind me, unbroken. And I know the forest has seen me, watched me, kept its secrets just out of reach. The trail crunches underfoot, soft and wet. Leaves and twigs give way beneath my shoes. Fog curls low, brushing my ankles damp and cold. Then another crunch. Not mine. It echoes mine almost, but slightly delayed. I stop. The echo stops too. A pause hangs in the air, heavy and patient. I turn slowly. Nothing. Only twisted branches, pale light spilling through mist. The forest hums faintly, low and knowing. A soft rhythm returns. Footsteps. Behind me. Unaligned, irregular, impossible to match. I taste damp soil, metallic, sharp at the back of my tongue. Cold presses against my neck and shoulders. Leaves brush my hands as I grip branches for balance. I step forward again. Soft crunch. They follow. I pause. They pause. The forest stretches around me, patient, alive. Rustling branches, the hum of unseen life. Every sound amplified by fog. I glance sideways. Shadows fold and twist, long and unnatural. Nothing moves, but I know something is there. My ears pick up faint whispers. Breath that isn't mine. Soft steps tracing mine. I try to keep calm. The air tastes of wet pine and decay. Cold grips my chest. I step faster. The rhythm of footsteps quickens, yet never perfectly matches. I dare glance behind me. Nothing. Yet I feel it. Close. Patient. Watching. The fog thickens, pressing over roots, into my boots. Each branch scratches my arms. Leaves drip cold water on my hands. Every nerve tingles. I sense movement in the periphery. Shadows shift unnaturally. I stop again. Silence presses around me. A faint hum vibrates under my feet, through the roots, through the mist. Soft footsteps resume, closer now. Every pause, every step mirrors mine, but never exactly. I cannot see. I cannot reason. A shiver snakes down my spine. The forest seems to lean closer, listening, amused. Every shadow folds toward me, curling patient. I step carefully, feeling the cold damp on my fingers. The rhythm follows, teasing, deliberate. My pulse races, shallow and uneven. I glance again. Still nothing. Yet I feel surrounded. Not alone. The mist swirls around my ankles, curling higher. I taste iron in the air, damp earth and wet leaves. The unseen steps echo in my mind, as well as the forest. I try to move faster. The footsteps respond. I stop. They stop. Silence stretches. The forest hums. The fog presses closer. I take one last step forward. The rhythm shifts, slows, then vanishes. Nothing remains. Yet I feel it. The presence that has shadowed me. Patient. Waiting. I keep walking. Cold and damp cling to my skin. The mist drifts around my legs. The forest exhales. And I know I am not alone. The roots twist low, forming a hollow in the earth. Fog drifts along the ground, curling into the opening like smoke. Cold seeps through my shoes, damp and clinging. Leaves shift inside the hollow. Slowly, deliberately, like hands reaching for something. The air smells of wet soil and decay, tangy and metallic. I lean closer. Fur glints in the dim light. Eyes flash, small and sharp, reflecting pale moonlight. A low growl rises with the wind. Not harsh, not sudden. Almost melodic, a vibration through the roots and mist. I step back. My fingers brush cold bark, rough and wet. The forest hums softly, alive with anticipation. Curiosity tugs me forward again. Leaves rustle as I peer deeper. Fur shifts, eyes gleam. Shadows twitch just beyond reach. The growl hums through the hollow, wrapping around my chest. A breeze carries it toward me, cold and damp against my skin. I taste iron wet and sharp in the air. Soft scratches echo from inside the den. I hold my breath. The mist curls around my legs, rising past my ankles. I see movement again. Something folds and stretches in shadows. Almost animal, almost human. The forest seems to lean closer. Branches scratch my arms as if reaching, touching. Leaves whisper against each other in the hollow's darkness. I step back once more. The growl fades slightly, lingering like a melody. The fog drifts, brushing my cheeks, cold and damp. Something flickers at the edge of vision. Eyes blink. Fur shifts. The hollow seems alive, watching, breathing. I reach out tentatively. The air tastes of wet moss and cold earth. The hollow responds with a soft rustle, patient, teasing. I step away again. My pulse is loud in my ears. The forest hums, branches sway, leaves whisper. The hollow grows still. The eyes disappear. The fur folds into shadows, leaving only cold emptiness. I breathe. Fog curls around my legs. The ground is damp beneath my hands as I touch a root for balance. A final low growl drifts with the wind. Soft, patient, almost a song, fading into the forest. I step back carefully, letting the hollow recede behind me. The mist swirls, carrying echoes of movement, shadows, life I cannot see. And I know something remains patient, waiting. The fog hangs thick. It curls low over roots and fallen leaves. Cold presses against my cheeks, damp and heavy. Soft murmurs drift through the mist. Voices I almost recognize, twisting, fleeting. They have no direction, yet they surround me. Every sound prickles my skin. A chill snakes down my spine. The damp earth smells of moss and decay. Shadows bend toward me, fleeting, intentional. They fold around trees, stretch along roots, vanish when I blink. I hold my breath. The fog drifts around my ankles, curling higher. Leaves whisper against each other in soft rhythms. The murmurs rise, faint, almost melodic. Words twist in my ears, familiar yet incomprehensible. The air tastes damp, metallic, thick with the smell of wet pine. My heartbeat thrums in response, echoing in my chest, echoing in the forest. I step carefully, touching bark, feeling cold moisture on my fingers. The shadows shift again. A branch bends as if reaching for me. Leaves brush my arm, soft, teasing. I try to focus. The murmurs carry on, wrapping around the fog. Around me, soft footsteps echo, not mine, almost in rhythm with my own. The forest hums faintly. Branches sway without wind. The fog curls at my ankles, clinging, patient. I blink. Shadows twist, flicker, vanish. The voices linger, just beyond comprehension, just beyond reach. I step forward slowly. The ground presses soft beneath my shoes. Roots snag. Leaves drip cold water on my hands. The murmurs intensify, not loud but insistent, curling in on me from every side. The forest seems to lean closer, listening, aware. I pause. Breath rises in misty clouds. Cold presses my chest, damp and heavy. The shadows fold around the fog. Eyes, small, glinting, appear and vanish. Each flicker pulls a shiver down my spine. I taste damp earth, iron, and moss. The voices ebb and flow, weaving through the trees. Every nerve hums with awareness. I take another step. The fog drifts, curling over my legs. The murmurs swirl around me, patient, deliberate. A branch brushes my cheek. Leaves scrape my sleeves. Soft footsteps continue, circling never found. The forest exhales slowly. The fog drifts back, leaving only shadows. The murmurs fade slightly, but linger, soft and patient. I continue, careful, slow, measured. Every step, every breath, echoes in the hush of the forest. And I know I am surrounded, not alone, The whispers, the fog, the shadows, they wait, patient and aware. Twigs snap beneath unseen steps. The forest exhales, slow and heavy. Cold air drifts over my skin, damp and tense. Trees bend at impossible angles. Branches stretch toward me, clawing, twisting. Their bark is rough, wet, almost breathing. Shapes flicker in the periphery. Quick, impossible to focus on. They vanish when I blink, leaving shadows that twitch unnaturally. The ground smells of wet leaves and earth, metallic under my nails. Fog curls low around roots, soft, cold, pressing against my ankles. Every step I take seems to echo, though nothing follows directly. The forest hums faintly, a vibration under the soil, beneath the roots. Every leaf whispers. Every branch scratches softly against the mist. Twigs snap again, not beneath my feet. Somewhere else, nearby, deliberate. I stop. The forest listens. The snapping stops. A shiver runs through my spine. The shapes dart again, closer this time, bending light and shadow in ways that feel alive. My fingers brush against moss-covered bark, cold and sticky. The fog thickens. It presses against my face, damp and suffocating. The hum grows, faint but insistent, vibrating through my chest. Branches scratch across my shoulders. Leaves whisper against my sleeves. Shapes fold into themselves, melting into mist, then reappear further along the path. I try to step carefully. Each movement is mirrored by the forest. A sense of being watched curls around my bones. Not malicious, not yet. Calculating. Patient. Twigs snap again, precise, almost rhythmic. I taste damp earth, iron, and wet leaves in my mouth. The fog curls around my ankles, holding me, teasing my balance. The shapes twist along the edges of vision. Impossible angles, elongated limbs, moving too smoothly. The forest feels alive. Breathing. Waiting. I pause. The cold presses into my chest. Every nerve hums. Soft rustling surrounds me. The shadows fold closer, deliberate, patient. A branch bends overhead, scraping my hair. Leaves drip cold water onto my hands. The hum deepens, subtle, insistent, a vibration through the roots. I step forward, careful, slow. Every movement echoes in the fog. Twigs snap somewhere just behind me. I do not turn. The shapes shift closer in the corners of vision, still avoiding full sight. The forest holds its breath with me. The fog drifts along the ground, curling higher. Cold presses into my legs. The hum lingers, low and patient. I sense it watching, calculating, waiting. I take another slow step. Twigs snap once more. The shapes dart, bend, vanish. The shadows fold into themselves. Silence presses closer. The forest exhales. The fog curls at my ankles, damp and persistent. I keep walking, careful, measured, each step a whisper in the dark. And I know the forest knows I am here. Patient, calculating, waiting. Fog flows along the ground, thick and wet. It twists like liquid, curling around roots and branches. Cold seeps into my shoes, creeping over ankles, clinging to skin. I stumble forward. The path disappears beneath the haze. I am directionless, swallowed by white, damp and endless. Shapes move in the fog, dark forms circling, never close, never far. Their intent presses against the edges of my vision. Leaves rustle softly, brushing each other, brushing me. The air tastes metallic and damp. I feel breath on my neck, though the air is still. The forest hums. It stretches and bends with me, alive and aware. Every sound echoes, stretching impossibly, folding back into itself. The woods remember me. I take a careful step. Roots slip beneath my shoes, wet and slick. The fog coils around my legs like soft hands. A shadow shifts. Then another. They circle, patient, deliberate. I blink, and they are gone, or never there at all. I try to call out. My voice is swallowed immediately, dampened by fog and distance. The air tastes of wet pine and cold earth. The forms move again, slow, silent, twisting with intent. I sense them weaving through the mist around me, always aware. Twigs snap in the distance. Leaves scrape across each other like fingernails. I step back, and the snapping shifts, following me, tracing me. The fog thickens, rising past my knees, curling higher. Cold presses into my chest. My pulse hammers, echoing in my ears, echoing in the mist. I stumble, taste iron in my mouth, damp soil clinging to my fingers. The shadows fold, shift, stretch along the edges of vision. They never fully appear, yet I know they are deliberate. The forest hums again. It vibrates through the fog, through roots, through me. Each breath is heavy, wet, tasting of mist and moss. I take another careful step. The forms circle closer, patient, teasing, never fully close. Every nerve tingles, every muscle stiffens. I try to focus. The fog twists, folds, curling in impossible patterns. Shapes dart, then vanish. The air tastes metallic and damp. I pause. Breath rises in misty clouds. The hum swells. The forest presses in, alive, calculating. Then movement. A dark form drifts along the periphery. I step back. It mirrors me. I step forward. It mirrors me again. Panic flutters in my chest, cold and sharp. I cannot see them clearly. I cannot understand their intent. Only that they are aware. Patient. The fog curls, swallowing my path. Roots, leaves, shadows, blurred and shifting. I stumble again, taste wet earth and metal, damp on my skin. The shapes circle one final time, folding into themselves, teasing deliberate. The forest hums, alive, waiting. I am alone, yet not alone. I keep moving, slow, careful, measured. Each step echoes in fog, roots, and shadow. And I know, whatever moves here waits, patient, aware, watching. The forest presses close. Fog drifts low, curling around roots and leaves. Cold seeps through my shoes, damp and persistent. I catch a glimpse of something in the wet leaves. Hollow-eyed faces stare back at me. They vanish the moment I blink. Breath mingles with the cold air. I cannot tell mine from theirs. Each exhale tastes metallic, damp, sharp. The forest hums faintly. Leaves scrape against each other, whispering. Branches bend as if reaching, patient, and deliberate. A distant howl answers mine. Long, lonely, echoing through the mist. It stretches, folds back, lingering in the fog. Shadows bend in impossible ways. They fold around the roots, brush against the trunks, vanish when I turn. Every nerve hums with awareness. I step carefully. The ground presses soft beneath my shoes. Roots catch at my ankles, wet and slippery. The hollow-eyed faces return, reflected in a puddle this time. Blink, and they are gone again. The fog curls at my knees. Branches scratch lightly across my arms. Leaves drip cold water onto my hands. I taste iron and damp earth. A shiver snakes down my spine. The forest exhales slowly, patiently. Around me, breaths mingle again. Some shallow, some slow. I am unsure where I end and the mist begins. I step forward. Twigs snap softly behind me. Shadows fold closer, teasing, deliberate. The distant howl rises again, answering each breath, each step. It wraps through the fog, brushing my ears, vibrating in my chest. I am alone, yet I am not. The hollow-eyed faces flash once more. Wet leaves, puddles, branches, they appear and vanish. Each blink is a trap, each pause a whisper. I move slowly. The fog swirls, soft and cold. Branches bend as if watching me pass. The forest hums beneath my feet. Roots thrum with something patient and aware. I taste damp moss, cold earth, iron in the air. I stop. Silence presses around me. Thick, heavy. My breath rises in misty clouds, mingling with theirs. The howl drifts further, fading, leaving a hollow echo. The hollow-eyed faces vanish into shadows. The fog curls around my ankles, lingering, patient. I keep moving. Slow, careful, measured. Each step echoes softly through mist and shadow. The forest exhales. And I know I am seen. Not alone. And yet I walk, step by step, through the fog, through the breath, through the hollow eyes. The fog clings to the ground, thick and damp. Roots rise like bones beneath it. Cold seeps into my shoes, icy and persistent. Through the mist, a cabin emerges. Small, weathered, leaning slightly. The wood is dark and damp, smelling of rot and moss. The door creaks. No wind moves it. A slow, deliberate groan that presses against the fog. I step closer. Soft footsteps press into wet earth. Leaves brush against my hands, cold and damp. Inside, shadows cling to the corners. Darkness pools where the pale light cannot reach. The air tastes musty, sharp with age. A faint scratching comes from the walls. Slow, persistent, almost rhythmic. I cannot tell if it is inside the cabin or beneath it. The fog curls around my ankles, tugging softly. Branches scratch against the roof, whispering. I smell damp wood and earth, layered with a faint metallic tang. Curiosity pushes me forward. I want to leave, but something, soft, patient, pressing, pulls me closer. I reach the door. My hand brushes cold wood. The scratch continues, steady, almost a heartbeat. Inside, shadows fold and stretch, clinging to every corner. The floorboards groan beneath my weight, though I step lightly. Air tastes of cold moss and dust. I lean closer to the wall. The scratching pauses, then resumes, deliberate, measured. I see shapes in the darkness. Faint, shifting, almost alive. Eyes glint in corners, then vanish. The forest hums outside. Branches scrape the roof, leaves whispering secrets. The fog drifts against the windows, soft, patient. I step back. The floorboards creak again. Scratching continues, following, circling. I breathe slowly. Mist rises from my lips. The shadows fold tighter in the corners. The cabin seems alive, with swells and sighs. Corners press inward, soft, patient, watching. I step forward one last time. The scratching pauses again, teasing, deliberate. I feel cold breath against my neck, damp and fleeting. I back away slowly. The fog curls higher, swallowing my legs. The cabin leans silently, watching, patient. I leave the clearing. The door closes behind me with a soft groan. Shadows remain in the corners. The forest exhales. Leaves whisper, and I know the cabin waits. Patient, silent, the night deepens. Fog drifts low, curling over roots and fallen leaves. Cold presses against my skin, damp and sharp. Howls circle endlessly, long, lonely, stretching through the trees. They twist and echo, folding back, lingering in the mist. Branches sway as if whispering secrets. Leaves brush softly against each other, scraping. The forest hums faintly, alive and patient. I follow a sound. Step by careful step, soft on wet earth. Twigs snap underfoot, small and precise. The forest grows vast around me. Mist curls, wrapping roots and branches. Shadows fold and twist, bending light, teasing vision. Howls answer me from every side. Not close, not far, always circling, patient, deliberate. I taste damp earth and moss. Leaves brush my hands, cold and soft. Every nerve pricks with unseen motion. I stumble. Roots snag my shoes. Fog curls higher, cold against my legs. The forest exhales. Branches scratch overhead. Leaves whisper secrets I cannot understand. I stop. Silence presses briefly, broken by faint rustling. The howls continue, distant, endless. I try to move carefully. Each step echoes in mist and shadow. Dark shapes dart at the edge of vision. Impossible to focus on. The fog thickens. It twists, curling around ankles, climbing higher with each breath. My chest tastes of cold, metallic air. Howls rise again, long drawn, vibrating through the trees. They fold through the fog, brushing my ears, brushing my skin. I pause. Branches bend. Leaves scrape lightly across each other. Shadows fold closer, patient, deliberate. I take a careful step. Roots press soft beneath my shoes. Twigs snap faintly behind me. The forest seems infinite, vast and timeless. The mist swirls around me, folding and curling. Skin prickles. Every movement, every whisper, every shadow, alive. Eyes unseen track me through fog and root. I step forward. The howls circle once more, patient, endless. Branches scrape lightly overhead. The forest exhales. I am lost, yet I keep walking. Fog curls around ankles, branches reach, shadows fold. And I know the forest waits. Patient, silent, alive. Fog thins slightly as I step into a pale clearing. The ground is soft beneath my shoes, damp with dew and moss. Cold presses against my skin, carrying the scent of wet leaves and earth. A pair of silver eyes locked with mine. Bright, reflective, impossible to look away from. They hover in the shadows, patient and silent. The air thickens. Each breath tastes metallic, damp, heavy with anticipation. Mist curls around my ankles, pulling softly, holding. Every sense sharpens. I hear the faint hum of unseen wings. Leaves whisper against each other, brushing softly against my sleeves. I try to move. My legs feel heavy, rooted to the ground. The forest seems to lean in, holding me, patient. The silver eyes do not blink. They watch, calculating, aware of each heartbeat. The shadows stretch along the edges of the clearing, folding and twisting. I taste cold earth and moss. A faint breeze brushes my cheek, damp and fleeting. Twigs snap softly behind me. Though I do not turn, the clearing feels alive. Breath, shadow, fog, all fold around me, waiting. The silver eyes hold me in place, patient, silent. Leaves rustle, brushing against my hands. Branches sway, bending light, casting pale shapes across the forest floor. The mist curls higher, hugging roots and stones, soft and cold. I feel my heartbeat in my throat. A hum vibrates beneath my feet, through the ground, through the fog. The eyes remain unwavering, glowing faintly, impossibly. I try again to step forward. The ground resists, soft and yielding, folding beneath me. The forest seems to breathe. Exhale, pressing closer. Silver eyes shift slightly. The shadows ripple, bending toward them, stretching along the edges of the clearing. A faint scent of damp pine and iron drifts through the air. I pause, breath rising in misty clouds. The clearing holds me. The forest waits. The eyes remain patient, calculating, impossible to look away from. I stand, frozen, aware of every leaf, every shadow, every soft hum. The fog curls, the branches sway, and the silver eyes follow, unwavering. The forest presses around me, alive and knowing. Time stretches, slow and deliberate. I taste damp earth, feel cold mist on my skin, hear faint, rhythmic rustling. Every nerve hums with awareness, awe, fear intertwined. I take a careful step. The fog curls at my ankles. Branches brush lightly against my shoulders. The silver eyes remain patient, watching, eternal. The clearing exhales softly. The forest hums beneath my feet. And I know I am seen, held, not alone. Fog drifts low, thick and damp. Roots curl like fingers beneath it. Cold presses into my skin, sharp and wet. Lights flicker between the trees. Unnatural, sudden, pale. They hover, then vanish, leaving the forest darker than before. Shadows leap along the trunks, elongate, bend, twist, then vanish, folding into the fog. I feel drawn toward the glow, soft, pulsing, patient. Every step forward is heavy, as if the forest resists. Branches scrape against each other. Leaves whisper secrets, brushing my sleeves. The air tastes of damp moss and cold earth. The fog curls around my ankles. Roots rise beneath it, soft and slippery. Every step echoes, though nothing else moves. The lights flicker again, closer this time. Shadows fold toward them, stretching along trunks and roots. I step carefully. The ground presses soft beneath my shoes. Branches bend as if watching, patient, deliberate. The glow shifts again. My chest tightens. Breath rises in misty clouds, mingling with fog and shadow. The forest shifts around me. Trunks lean, branches reach. The fog curls higher, wrapping ankles, knees soft and cold. Twigs snap faintly behind me. I do not turn. The lights pulse again, teasing, distant, deliberate. I feel it, resistance beneath my steps. The forest itself folds, patient, alive. Shadows stretch along roots and trunks, shifting with intent. I move forward. The glow flickers again, almost within reach. Every sense sharpens. Cold mist brushes my cheeks. Damp and clinging. The forest exhales. Leaves whisper. Branches scrape overhead. The fog curls, folding, holding, patient. I pause. Lights vanish. Shadows fold into themselves, bending the edges of vision. The forest hums beneath my feet. Roots press soft, fog curls higher. I step carefully, measured, aware of every leaf, every breath, every shadow. And I know I am watched. The glow remains patient beyond sight. The woods shift around me, alive, deliberate, waiting. Fog drifts thick and heavy. Roots curl beneath it, cold and damp. Leaves brush against each other, soft, whispering. Names escape lips I cannot see. Soft, intimate, chilling. They curl through the fog, brushing my ears, tracing my spine. I step carefully. Every footfall presses soft into wet earth. Branches sway overhead, brushing lightly, cold and patient. The fog shifts. I cannot see far. Shapes fold along trunks, bending, twisting at the edges of vision. Each name pricks my skin. They hiss through leaves, wrap around ankles. I taste damp moss, cold earth, iron in the air. I realize I do not remember all my own steps. The ground folds beneath me, soft, shifting. The forest exhales slowly, patient, deliberate. Branches scrape lightly overhead. Leaves whisper secrets, brushing against my sleeves. A faint hum vibrates beneath my feet, through the mist. Something knows me here. Faint, patient, watching. The fog curls higher, wrapping knees, legs, ankles. I step forward. Twigs snap softly behind me. Shadows fold in the fog, brushing the edge of sight. The names rise again. Soft, teasing, impossible to catch. They curl through the mist, brushing my ears, brushing my hair. I taste cold air, damp, metallic, sharp. Every nerve hums with awareness. Breath mingles with fog, mine, and there's impossible to separate. I pause. The forest waits. Shadows stretch along roots and trunks, patient, deliberate. The fog coils around my legs. Branches press lightly against shoulders. Leaves brush my hands as I step forward. Names drift again, faint, intimate, tracing the edge of memory. I try to remember my own steps. The forest folds, patient, deliberate, holding me in place. I take another careful step. The fog swirls higher, curling around ankles, knees. Twigs snap behind me, soft and precise. Breath rises in clouds, mingling with the fog. The forest hums beneath my feet, patient, alive. Shadows fold closer. And I know I am known here. Not alone. Watched. Measured. The fog whispers my name. Fog presses close to the ground, curling over roots and stones. Leaves stick damp against my sleeves. Cold air clings to my skin, sharp and moist. A branch quivers ahead, slow, deliberate, as if it breathes. It stretches slightly, trembling, alive in the dim light. I hesitate. A pulse of awareness rises in my chest. Something watches from the shadows, patient, silent. Leaves scrape against my clothes. Soft, teasing, brushing skin and fabric. The forest hums faintly, alive beneath the fog. I move cautiously. Each step seems louder than I intend. Twigs snap softly beneath my shoes, echoing through mist and shadow. The branch quivers again, a slow, deliberate bend. It hangs, waiting, folding along the edge of vision. I taste damp earth and pine. Fog curls around ankles, clinging, soft and insistent. Every nerve prickles, aware of something unseen. Shadows shift around roots and trunks. Fog folds between them, curling, patient, deliberate. Branches sway overhead, scraping lightly, teasing the edges of hearing. I pause. The branch trembles once more. Leaves brush against each other, whispering secrets. Something waits beyond sight. I step forward. The ground presses soft beneath shoes, yielding and damp. Twigs snap again, faint, precise. The branch quivers, stretching. Shadows fold along the fog, leaning toward it, attentive. The forest hums beneath my feet. Fog rises higher. Branches scrape softly against shoulders. Cold air presses, damp and metallic, carrying the scent of moss and earth. Every step is measured, deliberate, cautious. The branch stretches slowly, impossibly, alive in its stillness. I feel the watcher fold closer, patient, deliberate, unseen. Leaves brush my hands. Twigs snap faintly behind me. Shadows fold into themselves, bending, patient. I taste damp air, feel mist against skin, hear faint rustling overhead. The branch trembles again. The forest exhales softly, waiting. And I know I am not alone. The watcher lingers, patient. Every nerve hums with awareness. The forests hold me, folding deliberate, alive. Fog clings low to the ground. Damp earth presses against my shoes. Cold air curls around ankles and wrists, heavy and wet. I notice prints in the wet ground. Soft, shallow, deliberate. They do not match mine. They appear, then vanish. Circle around. Reappear ahead, beside, behind. Each step I take seems measured, mirrored, followed. Leaves whisper along branches. Twigs snap softly, distant, teasing. The forest hums beneath my feet, patient and alive. Fear gnaws at me. A pulse rises in my chest, slow, deliberate, sharp. Mist curls around my legs, clinging damp, cold. The prints shift again. Ahead, beside, behind. Impossible to track, impossible to outrun. I taste damp moss, earth, iron in the air. Branches scrape softly against shoulders. The fog coils higher, pressing, folding, patient. Every nerve hums. Something has been following all along. Measured, waiting, watching. Twigs snap faintly. Leaves rustle as though whispering secrets I cannot catch. Shadows bend along trunks, patient, deliberate. I step forward cautiously. The prints circle again, mocking, deliberate. I feel breath against my skin, though the air carries nothing. The forest hums beneath my feet. Fog curls along roots, around ankles, soft and insistent. Branches sway, brushing lightly, teasing the edge of hearing. Fear deepens, pressing into ribs, throat, hands. The prints appear again, always just ahead, always just out of reach. Mist rises higher. Leaves brush my face. The forest seems alive, bending, watching, patient. I pause. Breathe rises in clouds, mingling with fog. Every shadow folds closer, patient, deliberate. And I know I am not alone. The prints, the forest, the fog, all remind me, gently, steadily, that something has been here, waiting, following. The night presses close. Cold fog curls over roots and moss. Each breath rises in pale clouds, visible in the dim light. Breath fogs the air ahead. Warm, though the night bites its skin, it drifts, curling like a living thing. Whispers trail it. Soft, lingering, impossible to place. They wrap around trees, brushing leaves, teasing ears. Shapes flit just beyond sight. Edges blur in the fog. They fold between trunks, patient, deliberate, just out of focus. I step carefully. Twigs snap faintly beneath shoes. Leaves scratch lightly against my arms, teasing, damp. The forest hums low, alive and patient, breathing around me. Mist coils over roots, across moss, curling between ankles. Whispers rise again, weaving through branches. Impossible to follow, impossible to name. Every nerve pricks, alert, aware. Shapes twist in the fog, bending with the light. They vanish when I blink. Yet I feel them fold closer, patient, deliberate. Breath mingles with fog. Mine and theirs impossible to separate. Cold air presses damp against skin, metallic with earth. I move slowly. Each footstep measured, careful, deliberate. Twigs snap softly behind. Always distant, never quite aligned. The forest hums. Mist drifts over roots, brushing ankles. Leaves whisper secrets I cannot catch. Shapes flicker at the edge of vision. A subtle shift just beyond recognition. I sense them fold closer, patient, deliberate. I pause. Breath rises in soft clouds. Every shadow stretches along trunks and roots, calm, deliberate. The whispers trail closer. Soft, intimate, chilling. The forest folds around me, alive, patient. And I know I am not alone. The breaths, the fog, the whispers, all remind me the forest watches. Waiting, patient, mist drapes low over the roots. Damp earth presses cold against my fingers as I lean closer. The air smells of wet bark and moss, metallic with night. Eyes peek from root hollow small glimmers, pale reflective. They dart when I shift, playful, cruel. I cannot tell if they're human or not. Round, hollow, glinting with curiosity or hunger. Each blink reveals more, yet never fully. Leaves rustle faintly overhead. Twigs snap softly underfoot. The forest hums low, patient, folding around my chest. The eyes shift. Another appears. A third, glimmering just beyond the edge of recognition. I step back. Branches scratch against sleeves and cheeks. Mist curls, damp, cold, clinging. Every nerve hums. The glances linger, deliberate, almost mocking. I feel watched from all angles, though I see nothing fully. Shadows bend around the hollows. The earth seems to pulse beneath my feet, soft, insistent. The air tastes faintly of iron, fog mixing with breath. I lean closer, drawn despite fear. The eyes blink in sequence, patient, measuring. Each movement feels intended. Knowing, branches sway with a whisper. Leaves brush skin like fingertips, teasing light. A low hum folds through the forest, steady, ancient. I try to step away. Roots twist underfoot. Mist coils around ankles, tugging, soft but firm. The eyes watch still. I feel them in pulses, rhythm of breath against fog. Shapes twist faintly along roots, just on the edge of recognition. I blink and some vanish. Blink again and more appear. Never all, never none. Silence presses between breaths. The forest hums beneath the fog, alive and patient. I am small, alone, measured, watched, and yet I cannot look away. The eyes, the hollows, the faint movement, they insist. Each glance is soft, deliberate, intimate. I step backward slowly. Branches scrape gently. Damp leaves brush wrists. The forest waits, silent, patient, knowing. The eyes retreat. Slipping into hollows, mist drifts higher. Masking roots, masking breath. The hum continues, low, steady, eternal. I stand alone. The forest folds around me, watching. And I know I have never been alone here. The fog hangs thick, wet against my cheeks. Cold seeps to my clothes, but the air feels alive. Every breath pulls it closer, swirling, shifting. Howls return, layered and distant, a chorus that moves with the wind, echoing through trunks. I hear them in the pulse of my chest, synchronized, intimate. Shadows lengthen unnaturally. Branches stretch, roots curl, and the forest seems to breathe with me. A low hum, steady, vibrating through soil and stone. The ground is damp, clinging to boots. Mist coils around my ankles, rising with each step. I feel watched, always watched. A presence lingers. Ancient, patient. It does not move, yet I sense it everywhere. Its attention presses like fog, thick and quiet. Leaves whisper overhead. Branches scratch, faint as fingernails. Every rustle is deliberate, attentive. I pause. The howls layer closer, retreat, then overlap again. They fold into shadows, filling every hollow with sound. The air tastes faintly of iron. Moist soil and decay mingle with the mist. I inhale cautiously, afraid to disturb the rhythm. Something shifts behind a trunk. Movement subtle, deliberate, just at the edge of sight. I feel the weight of eyes, silver, patient, ancient. Each step I take is mirrored by silence. Every heartbeat echoes in the hollow spaces. The forest does not rush, but it does not forget. The fog curls higher, almost solid. It flows around trees, around me, shaping the world quietly. The howls hum beneath it, deep, resonant, eternal. I try to move faster. Roots tangle, branches scrape. The forest stretches, elongates, holding me in its rhythm. A shadow detaches briefly from mist. It glides, fluid, careful, never fully seen. I sense reverence in its motion, deliberate, knowing. The chorus swells. It fills the air with tension, awe, fear. I realize the forest is alive not just around me, but through me. I stop. The world holds its breath with mine. The presence waits, patient, unjudging, immense. I exhale slowly. The fog shifts, wrapping me in silence. The howls fade slightly, still present, still watching. I am small, alone, yet tethered to something vast. The forest breathes. I breathe, and I am part of its quiet eternity. The forest opens suddenly. A clearing stretches before me, pale and quiet. Fog drifts low, clinging to my boots, curling around my legs. No light touches the ground. Only mist, cold and silent, moving as if alive. Each step sinks slightly, the earth damp and heavy beneath me. The silence is thicker here. It presses in, folding around my ears, my chest, my mind. Even the wind seems to hesitate. I feel it before I see it. Movement, calculated, patient, just beyond the edges of my vision. Shadows stretch, fold, and vanish in a breath. The fog swirls, hiding more than it reveals. Shapes flip between trees, careful, intentional. Every glance, every shift feels like eyes tracing me. I pause. Breath fogs the air, warm against cold skin. The clearing seems endless, yet contained as if watching itself. Soft rustling from unseen leaves. A faint hum, vibrating through soil and roots. I hear it in my chest, in my ears, in the space around me. I take a step. The silence waits, heavy, patient. It follows, mirrors, and measures. Shapes dart just at the edge of perception. They are not solid, not quite shadows. Yet they carry weight, awareness, intention, observation. The air tastes faintly metallic. Fog carries whispers, indistinct, almost teasing. I cannot tell where I end and the clearing begins. My heartbeat is loud. Each thump resonates against invisible walls. Every nerve sings, sharp and aware. I want to move faster, but the fog resists, curling around legs, twisting with the ground. It seems to guide me, hold me, wait for me to notice. A pause. Nothing moves for a long breath. Then, almost imperceptibly, the clearing shifts. The mist thickens ahead. I feel glances brushing my skin, gentle, deliberate, unblinking. Something knows I am here. The forest hums low, almost a song. Every exhale I take joins it. Every step blends into rhythm. I am small, alone, yet I am not untouched, not unseen. The clearing watches, and I know it will wait. I move slowly. The fog parts just enough, revealing nothing, and the silence, heavy and patient, follows me onward. The trees stretch high, dark and still. Fog drifts low, curling around roots and fallen leaves. Each step sinks softly into wet earth, muffled, heavy with damp. A hum rises, almost imperceptible at first. It vibrates through the ground, through the fog, through me. The air tastes faintly metallic, thick with moisture and quiet energy. Shadows sway, not with wind, not with movement I can see. They pulse gently, bending toward the hum. I pause. Every instinct urges me to run, yet curiosity roots me. The hum carries something alive, patient, waiting. The forest breathes with it. Each vibration touches my chest, makes my skin prickle. I can feel it in my fingertips, in the back of my neck. Branches tremble lightly. Leaves rustle softly, like soft footsteps I cannot place. The fog shifts, brushing my cheeks and hair, cold, deliberate. I step forward. The hum rises slightly, subtle but insistent. Shadows twist at the edges of my vision, circling, retreating, never near. A pulse in the earth matches my heartbeat. It hums against my soles, vibrating through the mist. I feel watched, but not with malice, more expectation. I inhale. The scent of wet moss, of decaying leaves, mixes with something sweet, almost metallic. The hum swirls through it all, weaving sound and smell together. Curiosity pulls me deeper. I imagine the fog as a curtain, soft, pliant, inviting. Every step makes the hum respond, bending through the trees, vibrating along branches. Shadows lean closer. I cannot tell if they wait or guide. My breath forms little clouds, puffing in rhythm with the forest hum. I try to focus. The hum is steady, soft, constant, like the pulse of something immense beneath the soil. I stop again. The fog thickens, dense, clinging to my sleeves, damp against skin. The forest holds its breath. Or maybe it has always been holding mine. I sway slightly with the vibration, letting it move through me. It is neither friend nor foe. It is the quiet insistence of the woods, aware of me. A shadow flickers at the edge of vision, not a shape I can name, not a form I can follow. It hums with the forest, pulses with me, and then it fades. I move slowly, deliberately. Each step aligns with the hum, soft vibrations in rhythm with my own. Fog drifts past my ankles, brushing gentle, sentient. I am alone, yet not alone. The forest watches and listens, humming softly as I walk. And I keep walking, drawn forward by curiosity, traced by shadow and vibration, into the gentle, patient pulse of the humming woods. The fog clings to my ankles, damp and heavy. Branches scrape my shoulders, brushing with sharp insistence. The air smells of wet earth and something faintly acrid alive. Shapes dart past, faster than I can track, faster than my eyes can follow. Fur flashes, teeth glint, eyes catch the pale light of the fog. I freeze. Every shadow seems intentional. Every step echoes, measured, watched. A low rustle curls through the undergrowth. I taste the cold in the back of my throat, metallic, sharp. The shapes vanish, then return, never near, always just at the edge. I step forward. The ground is soft beneath my soles, clinging, sucking. The fog twists around me, brushing my hair, chilling my neck. Movement flickers again. A pair of eyes gleams and disappears, leaving only cold silence. The forest hums faintly, as if it knows something I do not. I sway slightly, aware of each sound, each breath. Leaves scratch against my clothes, against my skin. The shapes circle, careful, patient, almost playful. I try to catch a glimpse. They dart, vanish, leave only static in my vision. The rhythm of my heartbeat is loud in my ears, steady, insistent. The fog thickens. It wraps around the trees, the roots, the shadows. Each movement I make seems amplified, exaggerated, under scrutiny. I pause again. The forest watches, quiet and expectant. A hint of wet fur flashes in the corner of my eye. Every sense sharpens. The smell of damp moss mixes with the acrid tang of fur. The faint hum vibrates in the air, vibrating through my chest. I try to breathe slowly. The shapes flit closer, retreat, tease the edge of perception. My own shadow stretches and twists unnaturally with the fog. Soft footsteps behind me. Or is it the wind? The shapes dart past again, faster, closer, teasing the space I occupy. I feel their gaze on my back, on my chest, everywhere I move. I move carefully, each step deliberate. Twigs snap softly underfoot, wet leaves rustle in reply. The forest hums low, patient, alive, and I am its witness. I stop. The fog swirls. Shapes vanish. Only silence and the cold weight of air remain. But I know they are here, always at the edge of sight, always circling, always watching. I inhale slowly. The damp air fills my lungs, thick, heavy, and I take another step into the quiet tension of the forest, drawn forward by the impossible presence at the edges of my vision. The path narrows. Trees lean closer, their branches like fingers brushing against my arms. The fog coils low, wrapping around roots and stones, sticky and cold. My breath catches. It hangs in front of me, visible, trembling, and I realize it is the only sound. The forest is silent, waiting. I step forward. The ground, soft, uneven, clings to my shoes. Every twig, every wet leaf whispers beneath my weight. Shadows stretch longer, folding into the fog. I feel a gaze pressing against my back, unseen but unmistakable. My skin prickles, every nerve taut. The path twists. The trees crowd tighter, pressing, bending impossibly toward me. I move slower, cautious, each step measured. The scent of damp pine and decay fills the air. It mixes with something else, sharp, metallic, alive. I swallow hard. The taste lingers. I see a flicker ahead. A pale light, or is it only the fog catching on wet leaves? I cannot tell, but I feel drawn, as if it calls me forward. Silence stretches. It is not empty. It feels alive, thick, almost breathing. Each inhalation of mine seems amplified, echoing too loudly. A branch snaps softly behind me. I do not turn. I cannot turn. The pull forward is stronger than fear. The air hums faintly. Vibrations ripple through the fog, through my bones, through the wet earth. Every sense sharpens. Every shadow seems poised, intentional. The trail narrows further. Roots twist like veins across the path, glistening in pale light. Leaves brush my face, wet, soft, chilling. I step again. Closer, closer to the end that I cannot see. The silence presses around me, heavier than the night itself. The forest breathes with me, slow, patient, ancient. I realize I am alone, yet not alone. A shape moves just at the edge of sight, gone in a blink, leaving only the hum of the earth beneath my feet. I cannot shake the feeling of being watched, studied, counted. The path seems endless and finite at once. Every step echoes, swallowed, repeated. The fog thickens, curling into the spaces between trees like smoke. And still I move, drawn by something I cannot name, cannot resist. The trail ends in shadow. I pause. The air is still. The hum settles into my chest. Steady, patient. I take one last step, and everything waits. The fog thickens. It drapes over the trail like wet silk, soft and cold against my skin. Each breath I take mingles with it, visible and fleeting. Shapes crouch between trees. Still, silent, watching. I cannot tell if they move or if I only imagine them shifting. My heart hammers. The air vibrates faintly with each beat, echoing in my chest. A hum lingers, low, patient, almost comforting. Countless eyes glimmer through the gray, pale silver, unblinking. They watch. Wait. The ground is damp, earthy, clinging to my shoes. The fog carries the scent of pine and decay, sharp and alive. I feel the brush of leaves against my arms. Tender, deliberate. A shape tilts its head. Curious. Calculating. I step forward. The forest sways subtly, though there is no wind. Every branch, every root seems to bend toward me, welcoming and wary. I hear soft rustling. Not close, not far. A rhythm I cannot place, yet it matches my own shallow breathing. The eyes blink slowly. 100 tiny movements, deliberate. I feel their patience like weight pressing on my chest. A scent drifts past. Wet soil, something faintly metallic, the tang of moss. It curls around me, wrapping me in the forest quiet. I try to name the shapes. Human? Beast? Something old or something patient? Each blink reveals more, yet never enough. My steps echo softly. Soft footsteps, swallowed immediately by the fog. I realize I have not been alone, not for a single step. The trees hum lightly, a vibration that seeps into my bones, warm and steady. I feel the forest pulse beneath my feet, beneath my ribs. The eyes follow every movement, a silent counting, patient, careful. I cannot escape their gaze, and I do not want to. Shadows stretch and fold into one another. I reach out to touch a branch. It quivers beneath my fingers, alive, but still part of this patient waiting. My chest tightens. Fear coils and loosens, slipping into awe. The forest has been here longer than I can measure, and it has waited for me. I stand still, breath mingling with fog. The shapes crouch, the eyes gleam, the forest hums. Acceptance settles like mist. I am not lost. I am here where I was always meant to be. The fog swirls. Around me, above me, through me, every shadow, every shimmer is patient. I feel the hum in my chest, the rhythm of forest, slow and enduring. I am part of it now, quietly, completely. The shapes do not advance. They do not flee. They wait, and I wait with them. A breath passes, my own, mingled with countless others. warm in the cold, steady in the stillness. The fog swallows everything else. Only the hum remains, only the watchful eyes. I close my own, and for a moment I am nothing and everything.